we're threshing winter wheat. We grew this wheat. We planted it last September, and we been a tough spring here trying to get stuff around, but we were able to shock it and get it ready to thresh here. 4th of July we shocked it, and we planned this day a long time ago. Luckily we're on asphalt today. That makes it really nice because we can utilize what we have to not be out in the mud and get our wheat thrashed and ready to go, because we haul it over to Ludwig Mill in Grand Rapids, and they use the grain to mill it, and then we utilize the flour and stuff, and we, for donation, people purchase it and stuff. So it works out really good for both park districts, between Toledo Metro Parks and Wood County Park District. Well, see, years ago, I mean, way back, like when it started, I mean, guys would have like a reaper, like in the 1800s, late 1800s. They'd reap the ground, cut the wheat, they'd hand tie the shocks, they'd put them in the bundles or the shocks, and then they'd have like a hand feed thrashing machine or something. Then, like in the early 20th century, I'd say 1920, maybe the turn of the century, they come up with binders that actually cut the wheat and tied it into bundles, and then that made it a lot easier. You did a lot of less hand labor there, but you still had to stack them by hand and let them dry out, and then you thrashed them. Well, then later the thrash machines came to where you pitched in the bundles with a fork, and you didn't have to hand feed the machine, which that sped it up a lot too. And of course, steam power was a big thing there. It's when the steam engine, late 19th century, early 20th century was doing it. And then as time went on a little bit farther, then the gas tractor started replacing the steam engines, which worked good. Thrash machines got bigger. Some of the real big ones had double wing feeders on them. This thrash machine that we have here is kind of a middle of the road one. But basically, they pretty much thrashed up until around 1950 was pretty common around here, because combines started coming out. Some of the big pull type combines started coming out in the mid 1930s, and then the self-propelled combine started out in like 1947. I know John Deere did for sure with the 45, and then basically by the mid 50s, people had a good handle that the combines had proved out, and they proved themselves. But the biggest thing was with a combine, like today, you just go right in the field when it's dry and ready to cut, and you just start combining wheat. You don't have to do all this stuff, ahead of time, where you got to cut it and let it dry for 2 weeks in the shock. You just go right in and cut the grain, and it comes out of the spout into the wagon. You're done. Where this is a lot more hand-intensive labor and time, and it's just a one-thing deal. It's so much faster today. It takes the labor out of it, and it takes the time, and the weather is your biggest thing, because like these things sat out in the rain, and we had to turn them earlier in the week. It's just a lot more efficient with the new machine. I mean, but nobody knows much of this. Like I said, nobody's seen this stuff in 70 some years.
How hard was the work back then? How hard was it?
Well, I mean, it was tough. I mean, because obviously you're in the field, it's 100 degrees, it's whatever. I mean, there ain't no air conditioning, ain't nothing. It's just you're out there physically working, sweating, doing it. I mean, just bending over all day, stacking shocks, putting caps on. I mean, the wheat, itches up your hand, you break out. I mean, that's just what it was. I mean, and where today, I mean, for the most part, you can just sit on your seat in the combine, you can look through the glass of your air conditioned cab with your radio, and you can just, or your computer tells you, or it drives itself. But, it's just, not that it ain't, you're still busy doing stuff, but it's not the, continual, the hand labor stuff, yeah.